gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this on July 21st, 2022. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, it's been 6,482 days since the last F-Zero game. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa from Giant Bomb, everybody. Jan, how's it going?
I feel great to be back on the morning mess. I woke up last Thursday in a panic thinking I got to be at my computer at 8 o'clock. I need to talk about the news with Jeff Grubb. And then I realized I was not near a computer, and then I just went back to sleep in 3-digit weather. And
I'm glad you did that. I know that feeling, though. Tuesday mornings when I don't do the show, I wake up like, what am I doing? Why am I still in bed? And then it's like, oh, okay. All right, wait. Just chill. Just chill. You can just put the news together later. You're good. Man, I don't think it ever goes away. That feeling is just going to be with me my entire life. But yeah, fair enough. I'm glad you're back. The champion returns, Jan Ochoa.
Nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm blessed with your presence, the people's champ.
You know, we've heard some of your stories from Vegas. I keep like thinking I want to go. I lived pretty close when I was in Denver. It was like a couple hour flight. I could have gone. Only went like once or twice before the pandemic, of course. I had a good time. I have a good time in Vegas. People don't like it, but I tend to think it's I don't know. What else do you want from a destination city? A bunch of debauchery and weird stuff. Like that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah. And I mean, you don't have to partake in the debauchery.
Right.
I have found that if you want to, if you time it out and you go at the same time, there's a bunch of concerts going off. You can get very, very cheap tickets.
Yeah. Everything's really affordable there, I found. Yeah.
100%. I wound up watching the Black Keys, and like those tickets were only $9 each.
That's incredible.
And like they were very good seats. So, you know, there's a obscene amount of shows, an obscene amount of like everything. And I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, on the Bombcast specifically, but there's a lot of art stuff too, if that's up your alley. Right. Meow Wolf is over there. They have an installation. Omega Mart. If you're in the Vegas area or visiting Vegas, it's not too far from the Strip, so you should check it out.
Yeah, I went to Meow Wolf in Santa Fe and had a really good time. We both were telling Jess about this. She lost her mind because she hasn't gotten to go to one yet, and she's very jealous so far. So hopefully we get her out to one. We should just send her out to the one in Denver because that one is new and shiny and all that stuff. It seems like a good time. I never actually ended up going there. All right, before we get into the mess, let's talk about the show and what we do here. Each weekday, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news, the catch-up, where we discuss the biggest topics consuming the lives of gamers everywhere, and maybe even bring some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will join me to make me look smart. And if you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. If you are watching on there, thank you. Please be sure to hit that like button. Helps people find the show. Okay, we got we do have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Cowabunga Collection finally gets its release date. It is coming August 30th. This is from Nibel on Twitter who sourced this for us. August 30th, it's going to hit Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Switch. This is the collection that Digital Eclipse is working on. It's coming as a follow-up now to Shredder's Revenge, but it's a collection of all the older games. I'm pretty excited, especially after having so much fun with Shredder's Revenge, Jan. What are you feeling about this? You ready to get into there?
Yeah, I was really confused when I saw this news story because I was thinking like, wait, I thought Shredder's Revenge already came out.
Yes.
Not realizing this was the collection of everything. But I've been really on a nostalgia trip with the Turtles recently, so this is a welcome addition to everything. I may actually get the more expensive package here because I wound up buying a Turtles anthology, a comic anthology recently. So I couldn't be more hyped for the Turtles. I hope this is, you know what? I say that, but then I think there's another movie coming out and I have mixed feelings. Seth Rogen is attached, and I like Seth Rogen.
Sure, yeah, me too.
But I just don't know. I want like actual costumes and not CGI turtles.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, what is the the state of the turtle movies? It's all just still CGI, right?
I have to assume it's probably easier for CGI.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, it may not be cheaper, but it's probably easier to just
Yeah,
CGI.
but I mean, you know, the Jim Henson Company's still out there doing their thing, and they did they did a couple Netflix shows where they did the Dark Crystal show, and that looks better than ever.
Yeah, Dark Crystal looks fantastic.
Go back to the Men in Suits. I mean, those movies are a truly good time. I really did enjoy them, especially the first two. I don't know. Bring those back. Bring back the Men in Suits. I think they could pull it off.
Bring back the video games. Bring back the people in suits.
Right. Exactly. Like, I mean, if you're gonna go that full, nostalgia trip, like do the full thing. It turns out that that 2012 cartoon that everyone was saying was pretty good. It's a CGI cartoon. Actually, is a very good time. The kids really like that show. And I've been enjoying it when I've had a chance to watch it over their shoulders. So it's like, oh yeah, Turtles. Turns out when I liked them as a kid, I was onto something. Turtles actually a pretty good property, pretty good thing to spend time with, whether it's in games or shows. And the movies have been. I remember the Michael Bay one came out, and I'm just like, this looks rough. So I never ended up watching many of the other movies. But hey, we still have the old ones. I just go back to those. Let's see. Leaked gameplay footage from The Last of Us Part 1 surfaces online. This is from Chris Moyes at Destructoid. Footage has surfaced online that appears to have been captured from Naughty Dog's remake, The Last of Us Part 1. The video game was first brought to light by Xbox-era co-founder Nick Baker, who claims to have received the leaked footage of the unreleased title from one of his sources. Hi, Nick. How you doing? The 3 clips, running a total of around 6 minutes in length, give us a look at a world-weary protagonist, Joel and Ellie, as they pick their way through the decay of Boston in the terrifying aftermath of a mutant infestation born out of the disgusting cordyceps fungus. I have a little. I mean, we could show a little bit of this. I got the. Let's see. Let's just go. Yeah. Let's show a little bit of it. We'll see. We'll play with fire here. It looks a lot like The Last of Us Part 1 in terms of the gameplay, even though it also looks very gorgeous in terms of its visuals, and that seems to be what is happening here. So this is going to be a $70 game where they are not necessarily taking all of the improvements they made to Last of Us Part 2's gameplay and applying it here. It is mostly the improvements to visuals. So and that's from the original source that provided this information. They said that there's no gameplay improvements. It's all animation and audio. The leaker says the game supports stuff like VRR, 4K 40 frames per second, and 4K 60 frames per second. The game will feature an array of new accessibility options, and that's the bulk of the improvements here. I think it looks good. People are probably still going to have a good time going back to this, but Jan, at $70, what were you kind of expecting in terms of gameplay improvements?
Gosh, in terms of gameplay improvements, I don't know necessarily what I was looking for other than like the visual stuff. I'm kind of bummed out for Naughty Dog that this footage leaked because in the Giant Bomb chat right now, a lot of folks are saying footage looks a little washed out. Looks blown out.
This was probably not anything to do with the game. It is definitely seems to be with the capture.
It is definitely most definitely with the capture gear. Probably is not final at all. And this will unfortunately set the tone for a lot of people that this is representative of the final product. I watched this earlier, and the gameplay looks nearly identical to how 1 felt. I perhaps maybe would have liked maybe Ellie is more active, but if they want to stay as true to Last of Us Part 1, she's probably going to continue to hang back a bit and quip away. But Joel looks too old.
Yeah, they definitely did that, right? That I've seen the comparison, and they olded him up, and I'm like, huh. I mean, I don't know how many years is separated between that and Last of Us Part 2, where they really went with the made him look even more realistic, and they sort of dialed in exactly how they wanted him to look. It's only been a handful of years, right? So yeah, maybe he's supposed to be this old, but I don't know. I'm not like a super The Last of Us guy, so for me, it's like, okay. I was never going to pay $70 for this, so I'm like, I hear this, I'm like, yeah, it does. It looks better. I think the original game always looked gorgeous. It was one of the best looking games ever. This looks like also one of the best looking games ever. So great. But I think that I think it's easy to get tripped up on. I know for a fact that they know how to make a better playing game because The Last of Us Part 2 for all the complaints that people had about that, it was all with like the story and the structure. No one was really complaining about the gameplay. In fact, that it was getting lots of praise for being a serious improvement over Last of Us Part 1. And so showing up, be like, oh, here is the PS5 version of this game, $70, and it's still going to play like a PS3 game. I could see being a little frustrated by that.
Yeah, the $70 price tag is a little bit of a bummer. But the problem is I know more than enough people that are completely fine
Absolutely.
paying that price.
Yeah, and that's like, yeah, go for it. If that's, I mean, this for a lot of people, this is their franchise, their series. These are their characters. And this gives you another excuse to go back to that. I don't blame you. I'm the same way with a lot of stuff. I mean, I showed up for that Mario collection that was just like a bunch of ROMs. Like, yeah, I get it. So go for it. Let's see. Gear. Oh, go ahead, please.
One last thing about the last Part 1. It's wild to think that is definitely some players' or gamers' first AAA franchise.
Yes.
I think that came out in 2002. Is that correct?
No, wait. 2002 would be way too early.
Way too early.
Yeah. So it was probably like 2010.
2010. That sounds more right.
Yeah, 2013. They're saying. Thank you, chat. Thank you. I was like, God, it's pretty old, but yeah, God, it's only 2013, so it's not even 10 years old. Wow, that's weird. I guess it's pretty wild still. Like, think, that it feels like the franchise has always been with us since it's not even 10 years old. Yeah, 1995. There we go. Dr. Girlfriend experience there.
1963.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not even just like that young people are coming to this and like, oh, this is our first AAA franchise. The game has a certain appeal to, I think, non-gamers as well, because it is so cinematic and it does feel, it already feels like an HBO show even before the HBO show comes out. So it's like people come to it and it's like, this is a kind of a one of a kind of experience in gaming in terms of providing, stunning graphics and a really in-depth story. And when you try to say, hey, when people get and fall in love with this and they say, hey, what else in gaming is like this? You come up with a handful of answers, but none of them are perfect. None of them really match everything that The Last of Us is doing. All right, let's move on here to Gearbox closing forums and moving to Discord. This is from Luke Plunkett at Kotaku. Gearbox just announced that the company will soon be closing down its discussion forums and encouraging all users to instead migrate to using individual game discords for their community needs. Luke adds, I am once again here to say this is a very stupid idea. Here's how Gearbox explains it. We've had many good years of conversation on the Gearbox forums. This has been a great place to connect with all of you and have an amazing discussions about builds and add support for games. During the past year, we noticed many of our community members prefer to engage on other social platforms, and that's great. We love talking to y'all and keeping the community going there. Looking at where the conversations are taking place and feedback is expressed, we want to continue that dialogue on our social channels where much of the community is getting their information. Our support team will continue to receive your feedback and concerns through support.gearbox.com. As of July 19th, 2022, we will turn categories to read only. This means members will no longer be able to create posts on the forums, but folks will be able to read previous posts. This will provide 30 days to save any content you want to keep before it is closed. Later this summer, you'll notice a new Gearbox website and the forums will disappear entirely. This is frustrating for the primary reason of being when a problem occurs in a game and you go back to play it 5-10 years later and the conversation has disappeared and you go to open up a Discord for a game and no one is there anymore and it's all crickets or it doesn't even exist anymore, more likely. You go to Google to search for an answer and usually the answer pops up in a forum or something like that where it's like a game specific forum run by the developer. And someone asked this question, and you can look for the answer in there. Discord is not searchable in that way, and so this provides a sort of a problem where people are gonna in the future. Many of these answers could get answered actively in the Discord, but they will be lost to time, and that's frustrating, right?
Yeah, I love Discord. We have a fantastic Discord community, the Giant Bomb Discord, but we also have forums, and the forums are there to track history and stuff. And a lot of the time, even when I've had a technical problem, not necessarily with a game, but like with vMix, the vMix forums not always been helpful, but have been there as a resource. Like, yo, why is everything yellow right now? And you're right. It's really, really hard to trace a problem or even just an announcement in
Yeah.
Discord. Discord's fantastic for fostering a community, but it's not necessarily the best to stay updated when there is a specific issue or a specific problem. Just because of the nature of Discord. Discord is not a forum. It's
No.
it's a chat.
Yeah, it's a community chat room, basically. At its most basic level, that's what it is. And you wouldn't search a chat, like for the most part, like especially if you're not a member of that, an active member of that community. If you're just dipping in to find an answer, that's just not going to provide the back catalog of saved data to provide you with the information you need. Now, at the same time, Reddit still exists and is community run already, and there will be Reddit, subreddits for each of these games. And a lot of that's, and Reddit has already become sort of like, if I'm actually looking for an answer, I am going to Google, cite Reddit, and then that's where I'm going to look for the answer in there, because someone has probably had the conversation there more likely than even the developer run forums these days. So I get where Gearbox is coming from. It's like, I wish they would have pointed to that more than pointing to Discord and saying, hey, we have Discord and Reddit, and we are actively participating in the Reddit, and it's run by some fans from the community or whatever. But because Discord is not a good enough solution, but a combination of other features and other sites and other social media platforms could in the end provide many of the same things. But I get Discord is much better at building a sense of community than a forum has been. So I get why developers are kind of going in that direction. Yeah.
As long as they don't resort to having conversations in threaded YouTube comments to sort stuff out instead.
Yes, please no. Definitely not. They mentioned something about YouTube, I think, as well. But hopefully that's not what they're going for. All right. Square Enix teams up with Engine to make Final Fantasy VII NFT collectibles. Here it is, everybody. This comes from Dean Takahashi at GamesBeat. Square Enix has teamed up with Engine to create non-fungible tokens for digital collectibles for the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. Engine said it will make branded tokenized collectibles using its Affinity Network, which is a decentralized cross-chain blockchain network designed to make NFTs more accessible, whatever that means. This move is no surprise, since Square Enix signaled it would make investments in innovative technologies like blockchain, even as it sold off its Western game studios. Some gamers are going to hate this move as they associate NFTs with scams, wasted energy, and monetization schemes, but Square Enix has signaled that NFTs are key to the business model of the future. Consumers can pre-order the commemorative action figures starting today at the Square Enix store. The deluxe physical product will include a code that can be redeemed for a digital version of the figure using the Affinity Network, a next-generation blockchain for NFTs, blah, blah, blah. So they made the threat, and now they've delivered on it. Here it is. You can get your Square Enix Final Fantasy VII NFTs. And the people are just lining up, I'm betting, Jan. I bet the people are out there just going wild for this stuff. This seems pretty late, right? No one, like, the sales of NFTs have dropped off a cliff. People are probably not actually, like, going to do anything with these anymore, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, when was the whole Ubisoft kerfuffle with NFTs? That felt like 5 years ago.
Right, yes. It was probably like mostly earlier this year and late last year. Yes, like they started it last year and then it sort of fizzled out this year. Yeah.
That Squeenix teaming up with someone to make NFTs seems incredibly late to the party, and specifically with Final Fantasy VII, it kind of feels misaligned with the whole story of that game and Mako and Shinra and
very good point.
Yep. So I don't know. Maybe they're just going full on evil. Maybe they're just going full on Shinra or whatever.
Yeah, it feels kind of like missing the tone of the game, and it's like why for this game specifically when that game is about using energy from the Earth that's going to end up destroying the planet or whatever. But at the same time, this also feels like them just flailing a little bit harder than a lot of other developers and publishers, but still flailing. Yeah. Where it's like, Ubisoft was like, hey, we came up with a thing and it's sort of already gone away. And I don't know, EA or a couple other companies mentioned like, hey, we're looking at NFTs, and then have since then have either stopped talking about it or said, we're probably gonna pass on this. And then now we got the Square Enix is like, we should be doing this, right? Investors care about this, and then actually seeing it through in a way that other developers have mostly just like sort of skated past and like been like, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Square Enix continues to be a company where they have such successful properties and games in some circumstances and such huge, massive failures in others. And then in between, they're doing stuff like this. And it feels hard to have confidence in this publisher overall when they continue to do stuff like this, right?
100% agreed. They should instead actually license that Tifa statue that blew up the internet a couple months ago, maybe a month ago.
Right.
Instead of NFTs.
Yes,
that instead of an NFT.
Absolutely. I would proudly display that behind a curtain, behind a beaded curtain, to go in that back room over there. Yeah, absolutely. It's I still can't give. She's just above the Buster Sword, just doing the Jacko pose.
NFTifa.
NFTifa, absolutely. Yes, we are probably not going to hear the last of this, but I expect the next time we talk about Square Enix's NFTs, it'll probably be even sadder. It'll probably be even like, oh, they are either making another desperate move to try to make these NFTs relevant, or no one bought them and no one cares about them, and it's all sort of just fizzled away.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sony is partnering with Spinmaster on toys and merch for PlayStation games. This comes from Rachel Kaiser at GamesBeat. Spinmaster announced today it has entered a new licensing agreement with Sony. The former is the toy licensee for first-party PlayStation titles, meaning it will make merch for several of Sony Interactive Entertainment's biggest brands. According to Spinmaster, this includes titles like God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us, and Uncharted. It plans to create products in the action figure, collectible, playset, plush, role-play, vehicles, radio-controlled cars, and games and puzzle categories. Chris Beardall, who is Spinmaster's CCO, said in a statement, both SIE's PlayStation and Spinmaster share a common goal to inspire and entertain consumers through relentless pursuit of innovation. Together, we will bring the interactive storytelling of Sony's immersive PlayStation games to life in an all-new way, extending the fandom from digital to reimagined physical play. Spinmaster, Jan, its most successful product so far has been Paw Patrol, a massive success for them. This feels like them being like, we need to expand, and they've done a lot of that. They also do Gabby's Dollhouse, which is among my kids' favorite shows and stuff like that. Gabby. And so this feels like them like looking around like, hey, where could we grow into a new market to appeal to a different audience? And hey, God of War toys and Horizon toys. It makes a lot of sense for Spinmaster. And for Sony, it's like, hey, we have these successful properties. We know how to make movies. We're not a toy company, though. Let's partner with a company that is hungry and looking to grow. Are you going to end up getting Kratos doing the Jacko pose over Thor's hammer? Are you going to get that?
I'm probably not, but it kind of seems like a no-brainer. I'm fairly surprised this hasn't happened already.
Right.
Spinmaster also responsible for making tech decks and kinetic sand.
Yes, kinetic sand. Man, I should get a tech deck.
Kinetic sand, but a brand of kinetic sand. Right,
sure. Yes, they didn't invent the chemical properties of kinetic sand. Sure, I get that, but yeah, I'm gonna get a tech deck. Jan, you said the words tech deck, and now I need to get a tech deck on my desk here, so I can just do that.
Oh my god!
During Bombcast when it's not my turn to talk, just go like that. Yeah.
Yeah, give me like a Sony themed skate decks. Give me nothing but you know what? Give me Last of Us fungi bad guys kinetic sand.
Yes, that's really, yeah. They got a lot of like natural synergy here, Jan. I love it.
There we go.
Sony's probably had like toy products before. I'm sure they have. There's been like small deals here and there. I think this deal just feels like Spinmaster's going to show up and like, we are going to blow this out and just do a ton of stuff with all of these brands. And I think it's pretty cool. I hope they release an Astro's Playroom toy. I'm an Astro man. You know that about me, Jan. They call me the Astro Man. So yeah, I'm gonna show up for that. Absolutely.
Astro Man. Yeah, it's for the tune of Rocket Man. They also make the Rubik's Cube. So have a Sony themed Rubik's Cube on each face. Yeah, makes sense.
I love it. Yeah, those. I think like when Spinmaster probably refers to like a specific like their first toy, right? They're probably like, a dreidel company or something, and now they've expanded on to all this other stuff. But yeah, Paw Patrol, biggest thing in the world. What else they got?
They make Bakugan too. Oh man.
Okay, Bakugan. That's the real biggest property in the world. What are we talking about here?
They make three more products I'll mention.
Please.
They make the Etch and Sketch.
Okay. Wow.
So there you go. Each knob is like a different Chaos Blade thing that Kratos has.
Yes, sure, absolutely.
As a father, Jeff Grubb, I'm sure you have come across Hatchimals.
Yes, I have. My kids have occasionally been like, "What is that show? Can we put it on?" I'm like, "Oh no, I know that way lies doom."
And I have no idea what this is, but this is a thing called Inkfluencer. And then I just want to shut it all down now after that.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, Spinmaster acquired Etch-a-Sketch in 2016. Because I remember the Ohio Art Company being the brand on there when I was a kid. But yeah, Spinmaster acquired it in 2016. There you go. That's how toy companies work. You just make a successful toy, and then eventually you sell to the bigger toy company. All right, Minecraft Block Game says no to blockchain. This comes from Aaron Kelly at GamesBeat with that fire headline there. Wow. Lots of games and companies are hopping on the NFT bandwagon these days, but not Minecraft. The latest digital trend is so pervasive that the norm right now seems to have games, publishers, and developers making statements denying an NFT association, rather than, not including NFTs being the default assumption. A post on the Minecraft site clarified the situation, basically announcing an upcoming blanket ban on NFTs and blockchain technology. According to Minecraft, server admins can charge players for server access, but the players themselves need to all be able to access the same functionality. NFTs, by design, create artificial scarcity and exclusion, which conflict with Minecraft's guidelines. So, not too surprising, Microsoft has sort of been like side-eyeing NFTs for a while now. And it seems like even when Phil Spencer, when he's talked about it, he's definitely been like, that seems like a scam to me. And so it's not surprising to hear a developer under that Microsoft umbrella coming out and saying, this just does not fit with the game that we're trying to make. So here is a blanket ban, not coming to Minecraft. But it's the kind of thing where, if Minecraft, in another world, you can see where Minecraft is trying to like reinvigorate itself while this NFT thing is happening. Maybe it's like, maybe we got to go to NFTs, but Minecraft is doing just fine, right? So it doesn't need this to expand its influence and expand its money making capabilities, right?
Yeah, no, Minecraft is raking in enough money that they don't need to introduce crypto.
Yes, exactly. And I think Microsoft's probably also pretty sensitive to anything that might make them appear to be like they were when they launched the Xbox One, where it's like, we are going to force you into using always online stuff. And NFTs has that air about it, where it's like, this seems like it's coming from a company that doesn't care about games. It just cares about making money. And Microsoft is desperate to avoid that stuff. So it makes sense for them. Nintendo Live 2022 is a major fan event coming to Tokyo later this year. Nintendo tweeted this on its Japanese account. It's going to feature game tournaments, a concert, multiple concerts actually, stage events of some sort. We don't know the details about that yet, and the ability to try upcoming games. It runs October 8th and 9th at Tokyo's largest event venue, and the tournaments included will be Splatoon 3, Smash, and Switch Sports. Concerts will be for Splatoon 3 and Animal Crossing, and a Mario Kart 8 online challenge will coincide with the event. This sounds like a very good time to me, Jan. It sounds like Space World is back. It sounds like Nintendo's going to bring people together and just kind of celebrate its games. And I'm all for that. I hope something like this happens here eventually. Or maybe we should just go to Tokyo, Jan. This is it. Let's just go.
Do it. This is how we sell this to the people above us. We gotta go. We gotta go beat everyone into this competition, whatever competition they're having.
Yes, it doesn't matter. We will beat them.
Yes. Watch out, everyone heading to this. Also, watch out at the concert too.
Yes.
We're gonna take the stage.
We're gonna hit that mosh pit, and we are gonna show everybody who's boss in the Splatoon 3 mosh pit. And everyone's like, "What are you doing? We don't do that. Please stop that." This is just a fun thing. I'm glad that Nintendo's like, oh, hey, we could put on live events and use this as a marketing thing. It's not exactly Space World. Space World was basically Nintendo's version of E3, kind of separate from E3 before E3 was like solidified and everything. But this just feels like a fan event more than anything, like a PlayStation experience or something like that. And that's cool too, though. All right. Spider-Man PC specs have been confirmed, and the trailer shows off new features. This is by Grace Benfeld at GameSpot. According to a PlayStation blog, the port was developed by Nixie Software in collaboration with Insomniac Games. The port includes a number of new graphical features if you have the hardware to support them. These include ray trace reflections at varying quality levels, NVIDIA Deep Learning Super Sampling, and NVIDIA Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing. The latter two features are AI-based image quality boosters exclusive to GeForce RTX GPUs. In addition to output resolutions, you can choose a variety of display ratios, including ultra-wide 21:9 and ultra-wide 32:9. And there's even like a panoramic thing, which is like 43:9, where you could put three monitors side by side and have it completely just splayed out like that. And that sounds like something that eventually I'm going to have to try. That's pretty nuts.
Pervs.
Yes, for real. True pervs. The minimum requirements, not too bad. GTX 950 to get 720p at 30 frames per second on very low settings. But the recommended for 1080, 60 frames per second and medium settings is a GTX 1060, which has basically been the recommended card for most well-optimized games for years now. So not too surprising there. Although if you want the ultimate ray tracing, they suggest an RTX 3080 and an Intel Core i7 12700K or an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. So you'll need and 32 gigabytes of RAM. That's pretty beefy. And that's kind of actually not too surprising to me. So the recommended requirements is 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's a lot, but it's not out of the question for a video game. 32 gigabytes of RAM is kind of probably going to be necessary for streaming in all those assets so quickly when it was using like the SSD, although they do recommend you have an SSD as well, of course. Okay, let's see. PlayStation is discontinuing one-to-one customer support on Twitter. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced plans to discontinue one-to-one customer support on Twitter. Beginning in August, the Ask PlayStation Twitter accounts serving the Americas, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand will cease to offer support to individual customers. They currently offer one-to-one customer support to players 7 days per week. The American version, which has had over 1.7 million followers, has been in operation since May of 2010. And that's the kind of thing where you have to follow to be able to have them DM you. So it's the kind of thing where it's like they've helped millions or 1.7 million people at least. It says starting August 1st, one-to-one PlayStation support for via Twitter will no longer be available, and that's what the account tweeted this week. From next month, players are advised to seek support via PlayStation's website, and this is actually where I was reading. I mixed this up. One of its YouTube channels. So let's go to our YouTube channel for help. So that's a nightmare.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think I've interacted with the Xbox version of this a couple of times, and it's been pretty handy, right? You go and you complain about something on Twitter, they reach out to you, but like, hey, we can help. Just to like DM us and then confirm your account, and now we're just DMing. And I'm like, this is pretty nice that it just works this way. I suppose maybe that's because I haven't used that in a few years, I guess. So maybe it's becoming like a less popular way to do support. But I thought it would be the kind of thing where it's, hey, if it works, just keep it. But I don't know. I wonder if PlayStation's found a more efficient way of doing things. Have you ever used that sort of DM support feature for any service before?
Gosh, I've most likely complained about some brand on Twitter before, only to get an message and not an actual DM.
Yes.
But I see the value in that. Like, it's pretty much emailing customer support, but not actually emailing customer support. And that's kind of a bummer that they're just going to be pointing to support via the website or the YouTube. Sometimes there's very hyper-specific problems that a YouTube channel cannot fix.
Yes, absolutely. And just kind of getting that one-on-one support is very helpful in certain circumstances. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Former Uncharted and Last of Us director Bruce Straley has announced a new studio. This also comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Wildflower Interactive is making a smallish, creatively charged, uniquely stylized game, and Wildflower Interactive is the name of the new studio. Naughty Dog veteran Bruce Straley has announced his return to game development with a new studio called Wildflower Interactive. Straley spent 18 years at Naughty Dog, where he served as co-game director on Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, and Uncharted 4, before stepping away from game development 5 years ago. He said, in 2017, I left the industry not sure if I wanted to make games anymore. But the longer I was away, I kept thinking about this medium and everything yet to be done and everything I wanted to do still. And this idea kept following me. So I grabbed some friends and we started prototyping, and the idea started getting good. It started becoming exciting again. And I realized I need to make this game. According to the Wildflowers website, the studio is making that smallish, creatively charged, uniquely stylized game that explores the possibilities of the medium. It's currently a fully remote work environment, and it's hiring for a number of positions, including a COO and studio manager. I think it's nice whenever I see someone like take time away from games and decide I want to come back. It's like, okay, not everyone's being scared away. And this is a person who has a storied history making games. I really like Uncharted 4. So it's like, hey, if that person's going to come back and try to keep pushing things forward, I like the idea of doing something smaller and just like putting all your creative ideas into there and prototyping and coming up with ideas. And it's nice to hear. And it's like, you don't need to necessarily be at Naughty Dog to make that stuff happen. Although, of course, Naughty Dog affords you so much because they're huge budgets. Mm-hmm. But it's like, hey, you're a creative guy. Get your own studio going and go for it. Does this excite you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's nice to see when someone kind of burns out from the industry to take some time and find that passion and that love back.
5 years off, that's great.
Yeah, 5 years, like in the grand scheme of things, is not too much time away, actually. Mm-hmm. But also, I can see them burning out. You spend 18 years at Naughty Dog, and you're the co-game director for Uncharted and Last of Us, and those are very, for as many people that don't take Uncharted seriously, those are very taxing games to be working on, and very long, lengthy projects that I'm sure they've had like little small ideas that they've wanted to execute on, but unfortunately Naughty Dog, despite the big budget, is kind of locked into, at least what it seems like, Uncharted and Last of Us for the last 50 years. That is not hyperbole at all. So I'm sure he's had like a bunch of small projects, small ideas that he's wanted to execute on, but not necessarily had the opportunity because of working at Naughty Dog. And I'm sure that was probably taxing on him as well.
Yeah, it's also it's not like movies where you work on a big movie and that necessarily opens up new opportunities for you to work on even bigger and better things, and now you're an executive producer on everything you touch. Gaming has a pretty hard ceiling on how high people can go up on the food chain, and if you are the director on several big games at Naughty Dog, there's nowhere for you to go except for to create your own studio, and I'm not too surprised to see that he's done exactly that. So good for him. Persona 5 Royal PS4 owners will not be able to upgrade to the PS5 version. Another one from Tom Ivan at VGC. Atlas has confirmed there's no upgrade path for PS4 owners of Persona 5 Royal who want to play the upcoming PS5 version. The enhanced version of the popular JRPG Persona 5 was released for PS4 in Japan in 2019 and worldwide in March 2020. Persona 5 Royal will be released for PS5, Xbox Series 1, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC on October 21st of this year. But in a fact, on the game's website, Japanese website, publisher Atlas has said the PS4 owners who want to play the enhanced version of PS5 will need to purchase it again. I'm not too surprised by this, Jan. I think it's still a bummer.
Yeah, definitely a bummer. But I think we've seen a lot of studios shifting over to that mentality of like, this wasn't in that original window, so we're not going to
it's pretty far removed, right? Yeah, it's kind of where it's like, it's easy to forgive them. This is a big gap, and but it also is like, this is the same. It's still basically the same game, though. I mean, we'll see what the enhancements are really going to be like, but it's like, I don't know. For me, it feels like they can only be so enhanced. It's not like they're adding ray tracing to Persona, I don't think. But either way, though, I still, it's so far removed. If you got it on your PS4, you almost certainly played it on your PS4. There's ways that game's like has been included in some like PlayStation Plus stuff in the past as well, I think. So it's like people have played it for free in different ways. And at this point, it's like, okay, at least we're getting this next gen version and getting this version on all these other platforms. And really, that's what this version of the game is about. It's about, hey, you're going to be able to get it on Nintendo Switch for the first time ever. So yeah. All right, let's see here. Let's do these Japan physical charts for the week 28, July 11th through July 17th. There are 10 games on the software sales chart. I want you to guess how many of them are for Nintendo Switch.
Well, I've cheated and I've scrolled down too far. But I'm going to say, maybe all of them.
Maybe all of them. That is indeed the case. Every single game on the top 10 for Nintendo Switch. I mean, part of this is like the Switch is really ingrained. It's still very popular. And part of it is the PS5 is still hard to get. So, like, as people get PS5s, they would be buying games with it. People are definitely still doing that with the Switch in Japan, where the OLED model has sold 30,000 units. The original Switch sold 24,000 units, and the Switch Lite sold in another 9,000, where the PS5 has sold like a total of about like 14,000 units across the original and the digital version. So supply still constrained, but even still, it is clear Nintendo is just completely dominating Japan. And it explains what Sony has done in that country in terms of sort of deprecating its Japanese teams and saying, hey, we are going to make stuff that has a global appeal because we can't rely on sales in Japan anymore. And whether that's like a chicken and egg scenario, it doesn't really matter. It has borne out to be true where Sony doesn't care that much about the Japanese audience anymore, and the Japanese audience doesn't care that much about PlayStation anymore. They definitely still do, and there's still definitely fans there. And Sony still makes games that do very well in Japan, like Ghost of Tsushima. All that stuff is true, but it's not comparable to what the Switch is doing, right? Do you see a world where this ever changes, Jan?
The one factor I could see it potentially shifting that is if and when the Steam Deck becomes more available and prevalent, that if that will have any effect on the Japanese market with this. Because like a lot of these games are first party games, right?
Yes.
So we have Switch Sports, Mario Kart, Kirby, Ring Fit, Smash, Fire Emblem, and Animal Crossing.
Yep.
But then, the Steam Deck is a very powerful portable system. It doesn't take up that much space in your backpack, bag, or whatever. If you even just bring the case around like a psychopath.
And the PC, the Steam has been growing in Japan as well.
Yeah. And, a lot of people can just hotspot off their phones if they really want to get any type of multiplayer going. It's probably not advisable, but I'm curious if that will affect the market at all.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's first party sort of will keep it ahead for a very long time, but Japanese publishers continue to really heavily support Steam. And so if you want to have Monster Hunter Rise plus Sunbreak, which is the #1 selling game for Japan in the last week with 29,000 units, you can play that even better on your Steam Deck and get this full-fledged experience that feels much better than what is happening on Nintendo's platform. And that's true for a lot of third-party Japanese games. So I think it's probably going to mix things up. Like Steam Deck 2, Steam Deck Revised Edition, one that's even slightly slimmer, might go even further. That's one that's even more portable. But I still think Nintendo's probably going to keep dominating Japan for the foreseeable future.
100%. Until they make the Switch 2.
Yeah, the Switch 2, and it's some weird thing, and it completely blows up in their face. Yes, exactly. All right, let's get to the catch-up. We have a Live Alive review roundup, everybody. Live Alive is coming out. I think it's launching tomorrow. Reviews from a bunch of websites have come out, starting with IGN gave it a 9, Game Informer gave it a 9. Let's see, GameSpot gave it an 8. Destructoid gave it an 8. Shack News, an 8. Kind of Funny, 5 out of 5. Let's see. Nintendo Insider gave it a 9 out of 10 and said, I'll admit this was an incredibly subversive game for its era, one that might not hit as well as it did for some compared to me. I'm able to appreciate it as both a game from the 90s and just a game that I'm playing today, but I'm sure a lot of creatives in Japan were inspired by this, and those inspirations had to have bled into their work. You will have likely seen parts of its unique twist on the genres it plays with other games elsewhere, but I found this to be an endearing trait. It feels fitting that a compilation of clear passion and inspiration has trickled down to other games. The impact of Live Alive has seemingly never gone away, and that's beautiful. Meanwhile, Digital Trends gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It said, Live Alive is a high-effort remake from the presentation side, though the base game remains an uneven RPG experience. Overall, though, pretty good. Metacritic score of around 80. That has probably jumped up a little bit. Let me see, 82 right now. So... yeah, that's pretty impressive for this game. I think that it looks really good in the demo that I've played, and I think the gameplay is mostly pretty interesting, even though I agree with the Digital Trends that it could be somewhat uneven, where I'm like, these battles just kind of feel like I think I'm just gonna go towards them, attack them, and then that's that. That wasn't too tactical or anything like that. You played it like what? You think this is kind of we only played the demo. I think does this kind of fit with what you feel about the overall game?
I think more than anything, for some reason in my own head, that with JRPG demos, I'm a little bit more hesitant because to give a vertical slice of a JRPG is very hard.
Yeah.
Because that's not indicative of the overall pace of everything because they have to make it so tight. Like Triangle Strategies demo was not completely indicative of how the flow of the whole game wound up being. But seeing these reviews, I was really pleased with the demo and my time with Live Alive. So very, very hopeful to actually check the whole thing out.
Yeah, same actually. I'm not a huge RPG guy, but I had a pretty good time with this demo. I think I'll probably look into this one. Let's see. A rumor: cryptic whispers of incoming F-Zero news are doing the rounds online. This comes from Jim Norman at Nintendo Life. With a summertime Nintendo Direct seemingly sidelined this year, well, the first weeks of September would technically still be summer, but you know what we mean. Various leaks and rumors have been one of the main sources of conversation to keep online Nintendo communities excited. One such rumor that's currently doing the rounds, as flagged by My Nintendo News, suggests that Nintendo has some juicy F-Zero news ready to drop soon. The potential leak comes courtesy of Silex Hunter, a relatively new voice in the rumor community, but one who has been proven correct in their predictions on several occasions. And those predictions include, like, they basically got the last partner direct almost exactly right. So people are like, okay, we're going to put this person on the pedestal for now, and we're going to see if this actually turns out to be true. Sorry, I hit the microphone there. Leaker Silex went on to a podcast and did an interview with a voice-altering technology to keep themselves hidden. So taking it very seriously. It was on the Switch Force Nintendo channel where they announced a cryptic clue about what is next for Nintendo, simply replying with the following. And this is basically just a bunch of zeros and ones. 0011, 0010, like stuff like that. But it goes on pretty long. And when people decoded it, basically it says F-Zero news is coming or is incoming. The Silex went on to confirm this and said that you're right, but manage your expectations a little bit is what he says. So, Jan, we are definitely getting a new F-Zero full-fledged sequel, right? I am ready for this game. Here it is. It's happening right now, baby.
I don't know with Nintendo. Like,
sure.
Out of all the studios, you can make educated guesses and guesstimates about like, oh, they're probably working on this. Nintendo, I never know with these people. They're
tough,
like,
right?
It's like when you break up with someone and you're just dying to know how they're doing. It's like, do they miss me? Like, are they doing better without me? But I just never know because what other racing games do they make now besides Mario Kart?
Yeah, I mean, and really, I think their answer to that'd be like, why would we need to make any other racing games other than Mario Kart based on the way that sells, exactly. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people in chat are guessing a whole bunch of stuff. F-Zero Muso is the best guess so far, I think. But people are saying, a mobile game, F-Zero Run, and others are saying a GX port from the GameCube version and stuff like that. A new F-Zero Labo. F-Zero Match 3, absolutely. I'm guessing that this is... I don't know. I think that F-Zero GX port, something like that, makes some sense. Bring it back. Why not? But I don't know. I feel like that would only set the stage for a full-fledged sequel eventually, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm hopeful that this is still a pretty big deal. It's hard to say, like when they say manage expectations. I don't know if an F-Zero mobile game makes much sense, right?
You say that, but it could 100% happen. Didn't like the Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, the Mario Runner game do fairly well for them?
I don't know. I think it did okay, but that was the one that was like the $10 price tag, and they haven't done another premium price game since then. So I think that kind of tells the story of like, I'm like, this experiment didn't quite work out.
Is any F-Zero game on Nintendo Switch Online?
F-Zero X for N64, I think is, yes. Okay. That's a good game. That's a really good game.
I'm curious if it's just that.
Right. So people mentioned like, F-Zero with DD stuff getting added to Nintendo Online. Like that's possible, right? Because there's a 64 DD expansion pack that happened in Japan where people could then design their own courses and stuff like that. and maybe that's the kind of thing that could get added into the Switch Online, and that would be disappointing, but also it'd be kind of cool. I was always wanting the 64 DD. It also could be like, oh, they are adding as part of this expansion for Mario Kart, where they're doing all these new courses. Maybe they're going to add a new F-Zero course that we've never seen before, because they had 2 courses in there that are already inspired by F-Zero. Maybe they'll do another one of those.
Yeah,
who knows? We'll see. Okay. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has leaked early. This is sort of a warning for everybody. A lot of 25 copies of the game were for sale on eBay. You could just go pay $70 plus $40 for shipping and handling to get your own copy more than a week early of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And that means that stuff is going to begin appearing online, and in fact already has. Footage from the game is available online, and therefore spoilers are going to be online. This also likely means that one of those 25 copies is probably going to go to someone who's going to rip it and put it online. So piracy is going to happen as well, and that's also going to mean that spoilers will be everywhere. So between now and when this game comes out, be on the lookout if you care about the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 story. There's probably going to be some spoilers everywhere you look in these communities going forward. So heads up.
Yep. Yes. Be
All
wary.
right. Let's get to the poll. Let me bring this up here. Hit the transition. I asked yesterday, have you gone back to No Man's Sky for any of its updates? 40.7% said yes. 59.3% said no. I have gone back to No Man's Sky because of updates, especially the online multiplayer one. But since then, I've gotten the craving a few times and have not given in. I think I'm about due. I think. In the near upcoming future, I'm probably going to play a little bit more No Man's Sky. Jan, how about you? Did you play it at launch, and have you gone back?
I've played it at launch. I did go back when they introduced like the Pokemon-esque animal husbandry friending stuff, only to realize that I had played everything on PlayStation, I think, and then now I was playing on Steam. So none of my, obviously none of my progress carried over, and the opening hours of that game is so dramatically different than how it was originally that it took me forever to even get to the animal stuff. And I was kind of completely lost all over again, thinking that I was very familiar with the game, only to realize this is a completely different thing now.
It's very different. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the appeal. Like, they've made so many changes that it does feel like this whole other thing. But yeah, I'm the same. I played it on PlayStation and then ended up losing that progress. And I'm like, I probably would have started over anyhow. But it's like when you go back for a specific thing, you're right. Like, the playing No Man's Sky gets in the way a little bit of getting to that content for sure. And I don't know. I wonder if they are yet going to do, if they're yet to do yet another onboarding change to that game and shift that stuff up yet again. But we'll see. I mean, this strategy is obviously working for them. They're probably going to keep up with it, where they just keep doing these free expansions ad infinitum into the future until people just stop buying the game new, I guess, because they've never sold any DLC for it. So it seems to be working.
No.
All right, let's see. I was gonna do. Let's just do F-Zero. Do we get a new F-Zero soon? Do we get a new F-Zero soon? Now let's say let's just say soon. Why not? And I'll go Game Mess Mornings, and then we'll hit the poll button. And this is one we will answer tomorrow on the Friday show with Ben Hansen, everybody. Ben Hansen's going to be on the show tomorrow. That'll be fun. Let's see, 23 hours. There we go.
We have a breaking tweet from one Jeff Keighley.
Hit me with
Ubisoft has delayed Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora until 2023-24.
Yeah, so when I was getting some Ubisoft rumors earlier this year, the thing I was hearing is the game looks nice and the gameplay looks rough. And they wanted to release that game this year, obviously to coincide with the movie. But that seems to line up with the gameplay being very rough. So not too surprised. So they said did they get, what was the new date? Just next year?
Next year to 2024.
Ooh, oof, okay, woof. All right then, that's
big window.
Yeah, it's true. The good thing, there's 17 more movies to line it up with, says Marino. Yes, if they missed this one, there'll be another one in a couple years. So, Yeah, good for them, I guess. I don't know what I think about an Avatar game, like a big budget Ubisoft movie tie-in game. I don't know at this point. I suppose they're making that Star Wars game too, but it doesn't feel exactly like this. It just feels like, oh yeah, didn't Ubisoft do that King Kong game, like Peter Jackson's King Kong?
Oh my god,
it feels like that to me. So yeah, Jan, what's happening on Giant Bomb for the rest of the week, today and tomorrow?
We've got the voicemail dump truck backing on up as per usual today. Unprofessional Fridays popping off tomorrow. Perhaps a Halo co-op stream with you and I tomorrow.
Yep.
We're gonna try to get that going. Surprisingly, a lot of moving parts with that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I think I got it set up, but yes, it's weird because you have to do the Xbox Insider stuff. So yeah.
And then we did the Forza Horizon quick look for the Hot Wheels DLC early. We did that yesterday with you, Dan, and myself. And I believe that's it, unless anything else pops off.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything else, you guys could just check out twitter.com/giantbomb. We'll post it there, and check out giantbomb.com itself, and we'll try to keep you guys apprised of anything else that's going to happen. But yeah, keep your eye on the website for the rest of the week. We're going to have some fun, and tune back in for Game S Mornings Live tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Jan, for hanging out with me. I always appreciate it. Thank you to the audience. You're the best audience in gaming. Makes it easy to make the best show in gaming. And until tomorrow, have a good one. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.